Hello everybody, this is Zaxter99. We are back for what looks to be the final chapter of The Hero of Kendrickstone by Paul Wang. This is titled Chapter 8, A Final Battle. Now if you remember back at the end of Chapter 7, I had just made a very big decision presented to me by the Knight of Kendrickstone, the Merchant of Kendrickstone, the Great Ward, and the Great Wizard. All gave me suggestions on how I should go about helping Kendrickstone deal with the teleporting groups of bandits surrounding the city and preventing all trade to and from the city and causing Kendrickstone to go into a great, almost a depression with people moving out, all the shops moving out, and a really grim looking situation for the city. So I had chose the Knight of Kendrickstone's idea of going for a great sword that's been buried for hundreds of years, I believe, that supposedly can, it has great power to it, and I figured that might help me when I venture out towards the bandits. So I had taken her suggestion. The trick is going to be getting that Kendrick Giant Slayer sword. So that's probably going to be the hard part. We'll find out. And I don't even know if this is the last chapter or not. That's just a guess, but we'll find out. All right. We'll be back with Chapter 8 right after this. Alright, we're back. Chapter 8, A Final Battle. I'm going to go ahead and start reading. The next morning you stand in the open field in the shadow of Kendrickstone's keep. A white marble slab sits among the river grass, a stone footprint in the tall waving strands of freshly sprouted green. The stone is as wide as your outstretched arms, and almost twice as long. Intricate carvings work their way across its face, as crisp and detailed as the day they were chiseled, telling the story of the long-dead hero who founded the city that still bears his name. You reach into your belt pouch and pluck out a brass ring burnished by decades of use. One of the Duke's servants delivered it to you at sunrise. Remembering the servant's instructions, you feel along the base of the stone slab until your fingers find the indent cut into its side. The ring was made for bigger fingers than yours, but you never planned to wear it. All you need to do is slot the signet into the indent and twist. The moment you do, the stone slab shakes and trembles. Fissures within the carvings open in arcane patterns, sliding the formerly solid-looking slab away slice by slice, like the jagged panes of a shattered window. After a few moments, the stone retracts entirely, revealing not a sarcophagus, but a stairway downward into the darkness. You take a deep breath and step inside. Wow, this is getting good. The hallway fills with a soft blue light as soon as you step through. The tomb smells nothing like the dead at all. Instead, the aroma of fresh-cut stone and dust fills the dead air. There is no stench of decay here. You press on, but within 20 paces, you are brought up short. A slab of stone blocks the path onward. Written upon it is an inscription in bright blue fire. Child of Kendrickstone, what seek you within these sealed halls? How will you answer? I ignore it and try to push the stone aside? I try writing an answer on the door? Or I declare that I seek Kendrick Giant Slayer sword? I think I want to declare that I seek Kendrick's Giant Slayer sword. I seek the sword of Kendrick Giant Slayer. You declare as loudly and as clearly as you can. Your voice echoes off the walls and down the hallway behind you. The burning words before you flicker out and are replaced by new ones. Only the worthy will take up my sword. Prove your strength, and I will give you my blade and my blessing. With that, the stone slab folds away like a piece of paper, revealing a wide chamber beyond. Ooh, wow. You step into the new room. Its floor is flat and polished like the others, but once again, the way beyond is blocked. This time, instead of a stone slab set flush into the exitway, a massive block stands in your path. At a glance, you can tell the block isn't set into the ground. You might be able to simply push it out of the way if you're strong enough. Alternatively, you could try to lever the block out of the way with your staff. Then again, there is nothing stopping you from trying to push the block out of the way with magic. What would you do? Give up and return to Kendrickstone without a sword? I don't think so. Try to use magic. Try to pry the stone loose. Try to push the stone to the side. Well, let's just try the easiest thing first. I say we try to push it first and see what happens. You put your shoulder up against the block and push as hard as you can. For as long as your strength holds out, you push, but the stone stays obstinately still. Looks like you'll need to find another way. Try to pry the stone loose, try to use magic. Let's try to use magic. You focus your will and channel it the best you can. As the room fills with the familiar blue light of sorcery, you throw everything you can into the stone blocking your path. Despite your best efforts, the block refuses to budge. You keep trying until you have no choice but to give up out of utter exhaustion. You'll have to try some other way. Well, let's try and pry it loose. You pull out your staff and probe for a gap between the stone and the wall. After a few moments, you find a fissure, almost too narrow for your staff to fit. Within a few moments of careful and judicious wriggling, you manage to get one end of the stout staff through. Your impromptu lever in place, you pull back as hard as you can. With some effort, the stone begins to move. Again you pull, but even as the stone moves a little more, you feel the solid oak of your staff begin to splinter. That isn't good. Your weapon isn't going to be much use to you if it's in pieces. Will you take the risk and keep trying to lever the stone out of the way? Or will you try some other approach? Well, since I don't got any other choices, I'm glad I chose this choice last besides going back. I don't really have a lot of other options besides turning and going home, so I'm going to keep going. You keep pulling and the stone continues to move, slowly grinding against the ground as it gives way. Then there is a sharp crack as your staff snaps. Oh no. You stagger backward, holding a length of wood the size of your forearm in your hand, as the rest skitters off into the darkness. The stone has been moved just barely enough for you to squeeze through, but your weapon is thoroughly wrecked. Beyond, another message awaits. Few forces are stronger than one willing to sacrifice for what they believe in. Yet one who sacrifices too much will eventually find they have nothing left. Be warned and press on, brave adventurer. Okay. You barely go 15 paces before you come to another obstacle. This time, instead of stone block, you find an intricately carved door, sculpted in nonsensical patterns. Again, letters light up in blue fire before you. The wielder of my sword cannot be clouded by self-deception. Answer this honestly. You are traveling through a chaotic land when you see this before you. Just as you finish reading, the patterns on the stone resolve themselves into a vivid bas relief. Before you stands a scene of death. A carriage laying on its side. All around it, bodies riddled with arrows. Only one still seems alive, and so sharp is the carving work that you can almost hear his piteous cries for help. On the ground, a man in a fur-lined cloak lies dead, a ruler's crown clutched in his stiff hands. Behind him sits an immense sack. Gold coins spill out of its open maw. The blue flame rearranges itself. Wounded man, gold or crown? Which one do you go to first? The wounded man, of course. You reach out a finger and touch the carving of the wounded man. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the carvings melt into fluid like the rippling surface of a stone pond. When the stone resolves itself again, the picture is something entirely different. Now 4 carvings stare back at you. Each wears your features. Huh, wow. Before you stands 4 futures, the blue fire now reads. Which would you choose to prevent? You take a closer look at the 4 reflections staring back at you. The first wears a simple tunic. So vivid is the image that you can see the lines that now carve his face, the frayed edges of your shabby clothes, and the protruding ribs that frame your hungry belly. Around him stands a vast horde of children in rags, each looking up at that reflection of you with smiles and adoration. The second is dressed in the rich garb of a merchant, his expression proud and satisfied. His belt pouch bulges with gold and silver. He points proudly at docked ships in the background, each unloading a seemingly endless train of shackled slaves. Okay. The third is clad head to toe in strange armor made entirely of curved steel plates. An ornate crown sits heavily atop his head, weighing his down. Deep, stress-carved wrinkles cover his face as the angry faces of great nobles surround him. And the last is a wanderer dressed in rags, carrying only a staff in one hand and a tattered pack of belongings in the other. Despite his obvious poverty, Boy walks with a smile on his face, eyes focused on the distant road ahead. Who do you pick? The urchins, the merchant, the ruler, or the vagabond? Huh. You know, I want to be known, and I'm going to go ahead. I want to be a hero, so I want kids looking at me in adoration, so I'm going to pick the first one, the urchins. You point to the mirror image of you beset by the urchins. For a moment, nothing happens. Then there is a rush of cold air across your face. When it subsides, the stone is smooth and featureless, its carvings gone. The blue flames flicker and right themselves again. You say you fear one thing, yet in your heart you fear another. You know not yourself. Then the letters arrange themselves again into words as damning as a headman's axe. Begone from this place. You are not worthy of my sword. Aw, man, I chose the wrong choice. You let out a breath. That's it then. You leave the tomb and close the stone slab behind you. You will have to face Milius Blackclad without Kendrick's giant slayer sword. Ah, man. You return to the city empty-handed and bitter. Still, you have no time to waste. Sword or no sword, you still have an army of bandits to face. Well, that was a short chapter, and that is chapter 9. Looks like we'll continue this book with chapter 9. I thought that was going to be the last one, since it said the final battle. So who knows what's going to happen now? Yeah, I don't know what the right choice would have been there. I'm guessing it was option number 4 with the guy in rags, but I have no idea. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue with a story we've established here and go into chapter 9 like in the stories in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure you put your comments. Be sure you rate this video if you liked it. And we'll see you in the next one, people. This has been Zaxter99. Take care.